What's good, YouTube? And welcome to Wallet Survivor pre-sales. I want to sit down and have a talk like we usually don't with pre-sales because collector rare sets are a special breed and I want to break it on down because I really don't like the pre-sales overall outside of the collector rares for this set, and I don't like these sets in general with how Konami has presented them. We lost the all-foil side sets, which historically were doing very well for themselves. Even the failed ones with cool concepts were going up in price over time, whereas we have multiple meta decks in some of these and they're completely failing. Yet versus pre-sales you will often see certain decks and archetype go up over time, but versus pre-sales there's usually a cheaper opportunity to get some of these cards. Not always, but most of the time. Like with the adventure token package, for the most part, if you bought pre-sales you were doing pretty good day one. They actually shot up past that, right? But we're not having that much obvious meta impacting decks when we're talking burgers and dinosaurs and fighting games. The fighting game deck versus is kind of like this mid-range combo control deck, and then you also have in here the dinosaurs, which are very, very cool and also thankfully pretty low rarity for those that wanted them, meaning they'll probably be cheaper than pre-sales. And then you also have the Hungry Burger meme archetype around rituals, which has pretty good support, and again, not a lot of high rarity stuff. TCG player pre-sales, as usual, are jokes, low competition, people not really bringing in realistic prices right now, and just trying to price pretty much everything 40 to 30 and not giving a real crack at it. So let's go over to Gamer's Choice, where you can use code What'sGood5 for 5% off and to support the channel directly, although I would not be buying the Vanquish Soul or Versus deck core. I just think it's absolutely terrible what Konami did front-loading this with 7 ultra rares in a set where you only get 3 ultra rares per box, meaning per 12 box case you're seeing an average of 3.6 ultra rares. I don't blame the vendors for how they're pricing this one up. It's not greed when it comes down to going for 400 unlike 560, etc., but they are realistically trying to hit the nail on the head of how do we get some money back out of this and break even, most likely, because Gamer's Choice, if you want to talk greed, they could have gone a lot of different directions with the collector rares and did not price a single one over $6.99 nice, starting with Stake Your Soul and then Tenki at 60s, the dinosaurs at 50s when these are huge fan favorites. I bet they could have priced these up towards like $90 for Ovi and Tyranno. When Konami uses that term fan favorite, realistically this should be up there with like Ghost Tricks and other decks slash typings that get that kind of attention. Zombies, for example. So this generic dinosaur support collector rares, I do think this was really ungreedy to price like this and is very interesting as well. You then have Hungry Burger being the meme that it is. $40 was probably kind of cheap for the meme. I imagine it'll be 60 to 80 for a while, maybe come back down over time, but I feel like this was kind of half price on the meme early on. We'll have to see how that actually turns out, though. That's pure speculation on my part. So all their collector rares sold out because they were pretty good deals. We still don't know all the collector rares, so there could be heavy hitters that actually are worth a good chunk more and be a bigger chase right now, but these are the collector rares revealed and that we know. Then we get into the ultra rares. Again, 35 for a versus guy who's like not gonna take over the metagame in the current state. You have the Chef Special, the burger deck ultra at 30, and the only one I could really see here is Ground Zeno. Add a dinosaur or tuner or dinosaur normal monster from your deck to your hand, then destroy one card in your hand. It meshes so well with dinos and has a good grave effect that allows you to fusion. This I could see getting there, but I think we'll realistically start out maybe at 20-25, but because the set's so thirsty for value, I could see this being more towards the top of the ultra rares. I just see the rest of the ultra rare spread not doing so hot. When you look at the failed sets that are these deck building sets, they tend to have a lot of singles go down and out and then start to recoup the value, and I think we will probably see that with this, unless there's just such a low supply that it's easy to hype beast and people that gotta have it go for those first early deals, which could happen, I suppose. You also have Burger deck having the ultra rare at 15 here and then the other ultra at 10, so relatively cheap for that entire archetype. cool little, deck building cores like Dinosaur Core at 10, but a lot of this will be treated as bulk for a while and then go up. Still though, great deal for the price versus what it was, but being able to pick it up later, we'll have to wait and see, but I think you'll be able to pick a lot of this up, somewhat cheaper, but it's still a good little bundle. And Allures at $1, that's one I'll always suggest. Whenever I see this card reprinted and it's relatively cheap at first, usually it goes up in price over time, although this is a rare and not a holo version of it. So what's the real ceiling on it? $250 depending, but Allures tend to go up over time, so that one's also nice to see. But looking through this, a lot of 10s, 15s. It's not trying to get those 30s, that 40s that TCG players trying to get, but I still think a lot of prices are going to come down. The collector rares where the deals were, and they're currently gone on Gamer's Choice. Same with Tier 0, you can use code What'sGood5 for 5% off and support the channel directly. And I once again think the deals are, in the collector rares. A $400 deck that's not going to do much in the meta, I think you'll be able to get it cheaper. I think maybe 1 or 2 cards stay up in the archetype, the rest fall out, that kind of thing, even though they're all ultras. Then you also have the Dino deck core here towards 90. I mean, you could probably wait and get some of the pieces. And then the collector rares are, of course, selling out. Their most expensive one was at 76, so a similar vein of 70 and below for most. Stake Your Soul at 64. Then Conductor Tyranno near 50, Soul Eating Oviraptor near 50, and this is probably trying to be the exact same price as Gamer's Choice, I imagine, to a degree, except it's pounds to dollars translated on their page in front of you, so they were probably playing around with the exchange rate. It's not like, we're gonna get $1 more on them or something. We do see that the new dinosaur here is chilling, still in stock. Vanquish Soul here at 45. Let's see what else they had around here. Hungry Burger at 38, and then you have the Ultra Ground Xeno just a little bit cheaper towards 28. This is EU print, free international shipping. Once you get to, I think, around $75-ish or something like that, you'll have to do the exchange rate up here and look at their shipping deals. Looks like 60 pounds most regions, 80 pounds, etc. So it depends. And yeah, a lot of the ultras kind of around the same zone. We get down into the 9s and 7s though here, so a little lower on some. I feel like, again, with this, Hungry Burger's a super, by the way, people are going to collect the heck out of that. I actually did not look at the rarities for the super rares, admittedly, in the set too hard. I didn't know that was a super. I think people are going to collect that one. When it comes to this set, deck building sets in general tend to have, again, prices versus pre-sales that are a bit bloated, although you end up winning long-term on a couple of them. You usually have a better opportunity to go for it. If you're trying to maximize always when to jump in, you're never going to. You're going to be hitting a little too low or too high. Oh, it went and I was waiting for it. Those kind of situations are going to arise. But with this in specific, I feel like the decks inside of here, the ones I'm most excited for, are ultra cheap. And that's kind of cool, but if you're in here for the versus one, it really sucks for you. Dinosaur's cheap, yay, happy me, I love the dinosaur decks. Hungry Burger meme deck is cheap, yay, even the collector rare on pre-sales is probably a bit too cheap. But again, I think there's a reason why these collector rares are selling out from these pre-sellers, and if you're trying to open this set, you're likely to only see around 4 collector rares per case, meaning you need to open 4 whole cases to see all 15 collector rares on average plus 1, and it's just terrible odds to open for vendors. That's why I get why they're pricing like this, but I always put my audience first over the sponsors, because it's you guys who use the code, and gals, duelists, that use the code and support me. So when it comes down to that, I am paid directly by you at the end of the month just through the sponsors. And that's why I always give this kind of advice over the sponsors' prices. And it looks like a lot of the good deals are gone. Again, I'll poke Tier 0 to try to get one restock at least on the collector rare, since they said they would do a restock. But yeah, it's the collector rares are bust for this, which it feels like that way for a lot of the deck building sets, and Konami needs to get their crap together instead of trying to play around with the ratios and actually work on the sets themselves. And that's just my opinion with this. Thanks for watching, and I hope you know I'm critical of this game out of love. Like, I wouldn't still be here if I didn't love the game, love the community, these kind of things. But when it comes down to watching one successful product that was doing relatively well, where we only complained about 3 short prints, and now we're complaining about 10 different cards and ratios, and all we get are these little chase collector rares on the side for it, like, it kind of makes me not have a great taste in my mouth. And you can have that with a company and still love your game that they put out, but you want them to sometimes pull a 180 turnaround and go back to what they were doing. Like, imagine all foil side sets with collector rares. Wouldn't that be awesome? That would fix a lot of things instead of how this is going. But let me know what you think of Wild Survivors. Are you getting anything on pre-sales besides the collector rares? Did you wish you got in on some of these prices around $50 on the generic dino stuff? We'll have to wait and see how stuff settles too, but I think the collector rare deals were probably some of the best out there.